All right, rolling sound here at 316 Gimmick Street. God dang, I got the SmackDown Women's Champion, Becky Lynch, sitting right in front of me. Becky, welcome to the house.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Well, what brings you out to Los Angeles?
I love the city, and I'm a bit of a gypsy, so I'm always trying to figure out where I want to go, what I want to do next, where my next pit stop is. Every town that we go to, I pretty much say that I could live there. But every time I come out to LA, I ask myself why I'm not living here.
Where are you based out of right now?
Orlando.
How you like Orlando?
I like Orlando, and it's okay. So let me take you all the way back. When I was 15, started wrestling. Right. By 18, moved out of home, moved to Canada to pursue wrestling, dropped out of college. Was brought over to Japan as the youngest foreign female to wrestle over there. Did a little bit over there, wrestled around America a little bit. My visa ran out of Canada, and so I was back home in Ireland, wondering what I was going to do with myself. So I started taking up bodybuilding in the downtime while I wasn't wrestling every week because there wasn't as many shows in Europe. So I was doing that, and I was like looking, going, okay, I need to get back to America. I also need a backup plan. At the time, TNA had a great women's division. So I looked, I said, okay, there's a personal training course where I can get my visa to be over in America, and I can have a backup plan, and I can be around a proper hub. But then I ended up stranded in Orlando, not knowing what I was going to do with my life, doing this personal training course, which I hated. And
why did you hate the personal training course?
Because it wasn't what I wanted to do. Because I went from being so passionate about something to then going, okay, I'm going to do this because this is a sensible choice. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sensible. But Jesus Christ, how old were you? You're only 29 now. I can't believe you've been in the business of wrestling for 12 years now.
Well, I'd given up for 7 years.
Okay.
So then I was sitting there and I didn't have any friends over there, and I was
why didn't you have any friends over there?
I had no way of getting around because I isolated myself.
But I mean, you didn't get out. I mean, just didn't go meet people.
I didn't want to. I wanted to stay and like focus on my diet because I was like, okay, well, I know that if I focus on my training and focus on my diet, well, that would be my thing. But I didn't want to go out and but I had failed PE, right?
You failed PE.
I failed PE.
I just watched you and Sasha Banks rip the roof off the building off NXT. What was it? Takeover, Stopover. You tapped out. What was it?
Unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, it was an awesome match. I talked about it in my close. It's my recommended viewing of the day. So
I had failed PE. So
how did you fail PE? You're a hell of a damn wrestler.
I would just stand there with my.
Did you have an attitude problem?
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
Tell me about this.
So, I just I did what I want, and I didn't want to run. I just showed up, and I didn't want to run, so I'd stand there with my stick in my hand, my hockey stick in my hand, and and I just refused to run. My ma would come into the parent-teacher meetings and just leave in tears.
What kind of student were you?
At that time, I was average. I was average. When I started wrestling, that focused me, and that put me on the straight and narrow. I ended up doing really well.
So did you finish school in Ireland?
I finished school in Ireland, and then I went to college. I studied history, politics and philosophy, but I dropped out of that to go off to Canada and become a wrestler.
When was this point when you decided, what were you, about 5 or 7 years in, you decided this wasn't for you?
I was 3.5 years in.
3.5 years in?
3.5 years in.
So what was this epiphany said, this is not what I should be doing?
It wasn't as much of an epiphany. It was a struggle, you know. It was, my ma didn't want me wrestling. I'd lost my way. I didn't know, you know, I thought, you know, if I look a certain way, that's what's going to get me in. So that's why I started on bodybuilding, and then I dieted down so much. I was depleted. Every bump hurt like nobody's business because I was just a rake. I was, and I just depleted myself. But I still loved it. But I doubted myself.
Well, I was reading about your time on the indie scene. So if you get to the States, or when you go to Canada, when you come to the States, and you're in the indie scene, how is that for a single female? I mean, like. I won't ask you about money now, but what is the pay like on the indie scene for a woman back in the day when you were doing the indie thing?
Yeah, you were getting $50 a night, and that was great. Thought I was rich. There was one time when I went over to Japan, and I was getting $100 a night. It was a tour. Actually,
You hit the big time.
I was talking to Natalia about it the other day. We were on the same tour, and this promoter, he saw me. I was 18 at the time. I was this little blonde-haired thing, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and he was like, "This is going to be my star." And then he was paying me $100 a night. I was like, "I have made it. I'm rich." And but actually, from that, then I ended up getting a contract with an advertising agency that wanted to promote me as a celebrity wrestler, and. So they actually paid me fairly well, you know, and I remember getting $400 for a match, and that was it.
I went to Tennessee a long time ago, and the first time I went out, you know, I was making $15-20, you know, a night, and then taking long trips, you know, everywhere. I've told this story many times, and then I got $100 a night guarantee, and that's when I thought I'd really made the big time. So yeah, $100 a night was a lot of money, but back in the day, I'm looking at you right now. You got this red hair. You just said back in the day you were blonde. What is your true hair color?
Brown.
Brown.
Yeah, brunette.
Brunette.
Yeah,
Okay.
I get the roots.
So how long have you been doing the red hair thing now?
That was, so the match you talked about with Sasha, that was my debut of the orange hair.
Right.
Anyways, yeah, before that I was a little auburnish.
Auburnish.
Yeah, but I think when I came out in NXT with the orange hair and the steampunk goggles and that whole style, and that was my coming out party. You know, I think that was when people took
How
notice.
long had you been working at the time that you started working at NXT?
So I'd given up for 7 years. I hadn't wrestled in 7 years when I came to NXT.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did you find Finn Balor to train you?
Finn Balor trained me when I was 15.
How old was he? He's 10 years older than you.
No.
8, 7?
21. He was 21.
21.
He was 21.
And you were
at the time.
15?
I was 15.
So tell me about what this wrestling school entailed. Like for us, it was first learning how to take a flat back bump, some tumbling, and then a little bit of chain wrestling, and not a whole lot because this is 1 day a week. Finn, I have so much respect for, and I'm looking forward to him coming back from his shoulder injury. So he's very skilled in the ring. What was his basis for training you? What was the regimen? So
when I first started, we just had 6 blue mats on the ground. That was it. And I just come fresh off of watching Tough Enough, where I expected to go in and see these big, giant, muscular lads and this big warehouse, maybe the sign on the thing, and it was just this school hall, St. Andrews down in Bray. And I walked in and there was Finn, and he was, you know, skinny young lad, but full of charisma and everything like that. And it was nothing but, you know, lads with trying to grow their hair out at that stage, you know, the rocker kids. And we just went in, and we'd warm up, and then that was it. We learned chain, we learned to bump, and that was all we did for the first while on those mats. I remember we'd take power bombs on those little we'd do little matches at the end of the day.
Did y'all even have a ring with ropes?
Not for the first 3 months. Okay. And then we got that ring, and I couldn't get over it. It was the most amazing thing. So
you're only 29, and I read that you grew up being a wrestling fan since you were a kid. So take me back then to what era was that you were watching? So I would watch, you know, with Hulk Hogan and The Ultimate Warrior and everything like that. And I fell out for a couple of years. And then my brother would be watching it in the Attitude Era, and what drew me in was actually Mick Foley, because I just would walk past whatever, and I might have made fun of him or whatever, and be like, oh, you know, that's for kids or whatever I said at the time. And I'd walk past, and Mick Foley would be cutting these promos, and I'd feel real sorry for him, and I'd be like, okay, well, just let me know when Mick's on. And then I started watching that, and then I got hooked, and then I was back in 100%.